Hello, and welcome to Vacation Station, hosted by Lisa and Nancy, editors of BigBlendMagazines.com.
Travel and lifestyle writer Deborah Stone is back on Big Blend Radio's Vacation Station show today to tell us all about her walk on the wild side in Wales. The fire monkey went walking.
I know, that's pretty.
I
Wow.
know, it's so exciting. Her article about her walking adventure will be featured in the August-September 2018 issue of Parks and Travel magazine, but you can see it right now on nationalparktraveling.com. Just type in Wales, and you'll find it and see all these beautiful photos of her experience. Debbie is a regular Big Blend Radio expert contributor and author of many, many articles now, not just in Parks and Travel magazine, but also in Big Blend Radio and TV magazine. So if you go to blendradioandtv.com, you'll find her in our expert department, and you can see links to all of her articles with the Big Blend. So welcome back, Fire Monkey. You're still the Fire Monkey. It's never going away, Debbie. How are you?
I know. I think that one's stuck.
I know. Well, everyone gets their name, and if you go to Bhutan and they say, "Hey, you are a Fire Monkey," you got to take it.
That's it.
Yep.
It's it. So how are you doing, ladies?
We're doing good. I think it's monsoon season here in Tucson, Arizona. So a crash, boom, bang could happen at any point. So, somebody needs to pour us margaritas for the monsoon, and then we'll be even happier. But look, I want to go on this path, the Wales Coast path that you experienced, because this sounds epic. 870 miles? Really? That's a lot of walking.
It is. Well, yeah, that is the whole thing. Now, I only did a really small portion of it, but this is one of those really kind of, epic walks that people talk about, like the Appalachian Trail or the Pacific Crest or the Continental Divide, whatever. But, they have them all throughout the world. And, I think the Wales Coast Path is not as well known in our country, as maybe other walks are. But if you're in the British Isles, it's pretty, it's well known in terms of the fact that it has a distinction of being the largest country in the world with a trail that's continuous around the whole coast. And so, it gets that distinction, but it is about an 870-mile route. And I only did, like I said, a very small portion of it, but it was enough to show the type of scenery, and it's more like the types of scenery, because it's not only the coastline and the beaches, which are, the cliffs, which are dramatic and stunning, but it takes you through like farmland and countryside and, these rolling hills of green. So it's a really diverse landscape.
You got sheep. You got sheep.
Yeah.
I know. I know. As soon as we saw the sheep, we were like, yay! Yeah. I know. But it was so neat, too, because there was castles and these historic sites, and you're walking. And what I loved reading about is that you went through a company, Celtic Trails Walking Holidays. So you can go to their website, celtic-trails-walking-holidays.co.uk. And I love that there's a company to help you navigate where you're going to go, but also that it's really, you can still have your own plan of how you're going to do your walk, right? So if you want to
exactly. What I liked about it is it is a self-guided thing, but they prepare you with all sorts of great, material ahead of time. You've got your day-to-day itinerary. They book your accommodations. They do your route maps, your guidebooks, your packing lists, and your luggage transfers from end to end. So the only thing you want to carry then is your day pack, which makes it really easy when you're hiking, whether it's 10 miles a day or whatever. But it just gives you the whole day to get to your place of accommodation for the evening. So it means that you can take time to do this. You don't have to race through it, and you can spend time, going off the path to, suggested places and seeing ruins and seeing these incredible medieval castles and just, taking the time to stop and just enjoy at your leisure, which is what I really like. So there wasn't some leader guide who was taking a group of people, and you were going on a trip and had to go with the group and had to stop when the group stopped. You are just doing it on your own. You have great directions. You've got a nice interactive downloadable map that you can use, but it's very difficult to get lost on this path. It's incredibly well marked.
Oh, that's
really well marked.
We need it. We need it.
Believe me, and when you're going through, I mean, the only time, one or two times that we got a little bit confused, my husband and I, was just sometimes you're going through people's farms. I mean, you're on private land, you're going through fields, and so sometimes you're looking and you're seeing the cows and you're seeing the sheep, and you're saying, okay, now so where is the marker? And then you say, aha, there it is. I mean, we even asked a farmer once, because we kind of got turned around, and he's like, he nicely, gladly, pointed us in the right direction, which people there were very friendly, very, very, very hospitable.
Oh, nice. And I think it's interesting too, because the variety of terrain. I mean, I know this goes through national parks. I have to say that heritage sites, World Heritage sites, all kinds of preserves, farms, historic villages, and you've got the coast as well. And that's so exciting to me. There's something just so dramatic about the coastline. I know that you just came back from Dublin in Ireland. Everyone, Debbie has been covering the South for a while, and now suddenly she's like Holland, Dublin, Iceland, Ireland, Wales, so, you never know. She does regions in patches, but going this route was so interesting to me, that you are able to go with your husband, take your time, walk how you want to. And at the end of the day, they've taken your luggage to your inn, and of course these farming inns that you stayed at. And then go to the local pub and have a brew with the locals, or have a fancy meal, so that this just, I don't know, sounds leisurely, and it doesn't sound like you have to be like you've had to done the Pacific Crest Trail as a one straight shot to be able to do this. You can take your time, like a lot of people do on Appalachian Trail, Pacific Crest Trail. They divide it up, but those through trail hikers, man, that's some craziness. That's like
they're pretty darn hardy, those people, and
awesome.
I think that there are a few people who have done the whole circuit, but from what I understand, and in talking to people, they do parts of it, patches. They come back and do another part or patch or whatever it is, and they get a taste for it, and then it's something that you can do, and I like it that way. I think it would be really fun to go back and do another portion of it.
I think that's smart.
Did you? How many miles do you think you walked today?
Today, per day or what?
Yeah, per day. Yeah.
Per day, about 10 miles.
Well, that's not bad.
That's pretty nice.
No, it's not bad at all. It's, the trail ranges from, it's a lot. There are places where it's a lot of up and down. Some it's steep. Then there's places where it's completely flat, and you're walking on a beach, or you're walking on a country lane. So the terrain itself is, as I said, you're walking on everything, and so it depends on where you are. And some places you're going to take a little bit longer than others to get where you want to go, just because maybe it's going to be a little bit challenging in terms of the surfaces. You're on everything from grass and dirt and rocks and gravel and asphalt, and you're in fields, and so it's one of those things. You need good sturdy hiking shoes kind of thing, and definitely rain gear, because when we were there we experienced every possible type of weather. And you are in the British Isles, which is one thing. So, having moisture is part of the game. So if you have good rain gear, rain pants, rain, jacket, then, you're going to be, a lot more comfortable.
I love this though. To me, we're all out in the desert Southwest. Like,
good to me.
Doesn't it feel good all of a sudden to be in that, moisture driven place, that you're not sweltering like, at 115 degrees?
Well, I'll tell you, my skin really appreciated it. It felt really, it felt really good. And then sometimes, you're walking and it's that kind of mistiness that, almost that Heathcliff type of, kind of thing. And it's just, we walked for miles without even seeing a soul. And it was like we had the whole place to ourselves. It was like so, I don't know, it was just almost otherworldly that we were just kind of out there on our own. It was just really peaceful. And my husband and I, sometimes we hiked together and chatted, and other times, he was in front of me or I was in front of him, and we were, kind of doing our own thing, walking in our own space, which I like, because sometimes you just want to just kind of take it in without chatting.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. That's the thing to me. Nancy and I are like that when we hike, and even going with specific people. And I think group hikes are always fun. They're always fun with people. But there's these other ones that, like, our really good friend Rondi, we go hiking, and afterwards we sit down and have champagne and like a really fabulous picnic spread out in nature, and then another bottle of champagne comes out. But we'll go walking, and we're really early in the morning, and we're all excited because we haven't seen each other for so long, and then we'll be chit to get to the place, and when we're there, we're like, ooh, look at this, and then all of a sudden the three of us kind of get split into our own zone, and then when it's champagne time, then it's like again. but and that's the thing, we were talking about that, how we didn't realize how it was Rondi who said, I really love the fact that you're not those hikers that or walkers that have to talk through everything. Yeah. Unless there's something really unique or a bear,
Yeah, well, it's just nice not to feel, I don't know, obligated to keep a conversation. And it's like, we'd point out things and really interesting things, or I'd stop and take pictures, or, we'd stop for a break, or we'd talk about, this, that, and the other. But other times it was just, we'd go for long stretches of time with just kind of walking on our own and in our own world, in terms of, taking in what it is that we were seeing, the landscape. And to me, that's the beauty of doing something that's, self-guided in that respect,
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Especially if you're given the materials, you pretty much know what you're doing.
Right.
So you don't really need to have someone school you through it the whole time.
Mm-hmm. No. And this this company, will arrange, they have walks all over the British Isles and all over in different other parts of Europe, but they'll, they you tell them, it's like, you can say, I'm a real Uber hiker, and I, want to go and do, really challenging route, and I want to hike for long miles a day kind of thing. Or, I'm really kind of a novice, and I haven't really done anything like this before. So, can you gear it so that I'm, only need to do X amount of miles a day, or whatever it is. And so they will really work with you to tailor and individualize whatever it is that you want to do, which I think is the beauty. That's really the beauty of it.
I love that.
Yeah, maybe they'd meet you every 4 or 5 miles with champagne.
I was gonna, you took the words out of my mouth. That's exactly what I was going to say. It's like every few hours, can we here, ladies, turn here for the picnic, champagne picnic. And, and then by the time, hey, we'll come get a red wagon to carry you home to your inn at the end. But I think I love it where you can have self-discovery. And then in the evening, wherever you're at, restaurants and inns and pubs, you can say, hey, people, I saw this, tell me about something locally. It kind of gives you this way of conversing and connecting with the locals. And
yes, it does. And and you really get a chance to, and the people are so friendly, so that when you're in a pub, people, are very welcoming, and, they want to know where you're from, what are you doing? And, for me, and many people that I know, Wales has always been kind of off that beaten path, because a lot of people go to England and a lot of people go to Ireland and to Scotland, but you don't hear about that many people going to Wales. And I was intrigued by it because I had heard that it was scenery was stunning, the people were really delightful, and so I wanted to explore an area of the British Isles that I don't think that many people put on their bucket list.
It's on mine now. because you know how we have our 1 hour walk group on
Right.
Facebook, and people just do it on social media wherever they it just it becomes a thing. And the whole thing is to get people out, and that to know that there are places in the world. Thank you, Debbie, for starting this now. Over there. There's places in the world where you can go out into nature, because that is the thing we discovered. I know I keep saying this on shows, so sorry, people, but it's true. A lot of places that, people we talk to, would think, oh, I'm not an athlete. I can't go to Mount Rainier and do a hike, or I'm too
Right.
old, or, I have a bad knee. Well, Nancy
Right.
had a bad knee, but the more walking, the better. Yeah. So it's like,
Absolutely.
and it's about having these places, and having, you need to have some sort of guide. And it's become probably one of these most amazing things in our lives, is watching people start to take walks and share it, and talking. The 1 hour walk group on Facebook, everyone, hashtag 1 hour walk, just saying, has become this amazing thing of just, it's a small community of people, and it pushes you to get out there. And I
Right.
think when people have places like these kinds of vacations, there's the absolute need for humanity to have these kinds of adventures and experiences. And a lot of us need guides, like Celtic Trails is doing. But also, I believe it's one of the most sustainable form of tourism and travel in the world, is for people to be walking everywhere.
I agree.
It's one of the healthiest.
You learn so much more.
Kids should be doing it. Families. Do you think a family would do this?
I think a family definitely could do this.
Oh,
they could definitely do parts of, they can arrange to do whatever it is that you want to do, whatever your ability is, or else, your time, your energy, your inclination, whatever it is. I think that, they will find something that will suit you and those who are with you. So, this could be something that people could do as a, family reunion, or couples together, or, families, whatever it is, or solo people, people want to just do solo. It shows you that you can do something like this, whatever speed or ability that you're at. And I think it's important for people to know that they don't have to be these Uber hikers doing these types of things.
Yeah, I love this. I'm so excited about it. Now, Cardiff is where you started, and that's the capital of Wales. Of course, here in the south of America, no, we're not in the south, but the southwest, or I should say on the coast, San Diego, there's Cardiff by the Sea.
Yes.
Right? And named after Cardiff, and that's such a cool village, surf spot. So I was like, oh, Cardiff, this is cool. And they actually have a B&B that looks like a castle that's built because of the castle. So anyway, I thought this was really cool. So you went there, and you went to the castle. And this was what was also really interesting to me about this, is that it was also part of a Roman fort. And our friend Glenn Burrows, he's on our shows all the time talking about England and Norfolk. He talks about one of his favorite things, and because he takes tours over there, people going and walking this long trail in England, and you're walking an ancient Roman road. And so he's like, you girls, wherever you walk out here, you're in Roman times. I mean, this is some ancient history. I mean, and you had like Roman history right there, and medieval stuff out there too, right?
Yep. It's very medieval, and it's the castles to me are phenomenal, and some of them are an incredible states of, really together and complete. And there's been, some restoration work, and others are in ruins. And so you see all gamut of castles, so to speak. But Cardiff, the castle there is in excellent shape, and it's quite impressive. It was built at the time, for a really rich man, a marquess, so to speak. And you can go up to the top and to the keep, and you can go into the apartments and see their, these gilded interiors, and you can go into the shelters and the wartime shelters, and so it's it's very atmospheric, and it's one of the very well-known sites of Cardiff, which really was a real industrial type of town for many years, and the coal boom was there, but it's really reinventing itself, and there's a lot of projects going on. But it's I think it's a city with a lot of character, with a lot of interesting sights there. And we hopped on a boat and took a water taxi to the bay, and there's a museum there, a national museum, and there's a beautiful park you can walk through. So there's a lot there that you can do. And so we had flown into London, then took a train from London to Cardiff, which is about just 2 hours. So it's very easily accessible from London. And from there, from Cardiff, we took a train to our starting point for the walk, which was Tenby, a really beautiful seaside resort.
I love that their homes are all different colors.
Yes.
You seem to, I don't know if it's homeowner associations or what, but neighborhoods seem to all have the same color of homes.
Mm-hmm.
And I just like it when there's that more of a feel.
Charm.
Yeah, I like that when there's a lot of color.
Yeah, color, and then there's like the rounded. I don't know. There's just
It's cool.
It's back in the day of things like that, where craftsmanship was like a big deal, and that kind of village feel. It's got a sense of place. That's my favorite saying.
Yep.
So that's got to have been cool. When you were there in Cardiff, you stayed at the Broadmead Boutique B&B.
Now, this was not Cardiff, Tenby. Yes, Tenby is the Broadmead,
oh,
right?
Tenby.
Yes, Tenby was where we started the walk, and we stayed in the Broadmead, which is this really lovely B&B, lovely, stately place. Impeccable, beautiful, lovely furnishings, and walkable right into Tenby. And you want to get out there into the promenade there, walk around, go into the, it's kind of like a maze of these narrow streets, and real beautiful views of the beaches, and lots and lots of restaurants, from the fish and chip type of thing, and the Welsh pies to to something really special. We had a very special meal at the stables that was lovely, where they had a lot of wonderful fresh fish. So it really is one of those towns that has it all, and it's a lovely, lovely spot, and it was made for a great place to start our walk.
Nice. That's nice. I love this, and I love that you started in the stables, but it's between between the medieval town walls.
Right.
Excuse me, like that is awesome.
Yeah.
I want to do that. So that's the thing. Was the food good in Wales?
You know what? It was you could find a lot of fish, which happens to be something I enjoy. And you could find a lot of fresh fish, and then you could find a lot of your typical fish and chips, and then you could find all these wonderful pasties, these pies, these traditional Welsh pies that have vegetables and meat and whatever in them. And it was you could find a lot of wonderful traditional types of food in Wales. And so it's an interesting culinary place, because it really is gives you that sense of place when you have the food there.
That's nice. And I know that you go to Chippy, or you go to the local tavern, and hang out with people. So yeah, I was looking at the different places. So you got the Broadmead Boutique B&B, and that's what 18th century country house. See, that's cool. I'm into that.
Right. Right. It was it's really, really beautiful. But what's interesting about the accommodations is they really range. You get the B&Bs, and you get these guest houses, and then you get, these hotels. And so you get a whole kind of gamut, and then you get historical elements as well, which I found really interesting in Larne. We stayed at the Brown's B&B, the boutique B&B, and it's a very iconic place because it really was the watering hole of Dylan Thomas, the famous writer and poet, who actually lived in that town for several years with his wife, and made the bar at Brown's his kind of spot, so to speak. So there's all sorts of pictures of Dylan Thomas, and so it's really you get this real sense of history there, and it's definitely very kind of vintage chic kind of place.
Oh my gosh, and it's interesting because you said he left the bar's phone number as his own. That's just cool. Cool. Now, I want to know if he met Ernest Hemingway. Could you imagine those two,
together.
yeah, because Ernest Hemingway and his whole bar thing, like he would always celebrate
Yep.
in bars, and he was like, we were talking to Robert Wheeler, who had
Mm-hmm.
written about Ernest Hemingway in Cuba and Paris, and and there's always a bar connected to Hemingway, so
And
that's
rum.
kind of and rum. So just staying. But this was like a celebrity hangout. I mean, Mick Jagger, come on.
Yep. Yep.
Ooh.
Yep. Yep. Prince,
Hey,
there was, it's Prince Charles has been there, and Richard Burton, Liz Taylor, even President Carter. And so it's been, it's
he
really
took
noted.
to the bar.
Yeah. That's right.
There you go. A peanut delivery. Here you go. Did they have boiled peanuts there? I remember eating boiled peanuts in England. Now I
never had boiled peanuts there, so I don't know. I don't know if that was a thing in England more, but I really didn't see a lot of boiled peanuts, to tell you the truth. I saw a lot of mushy peas.
Oh yeah. Now were they mushy or those parched peas that are different? Yeah.
Well, these were mushy peas. These came with a lot of the dishes. And then of course the traditional kind of English breakfast, which you can find everywhere around the UK, which is they do usually eggs, like fried eggs, like bacon. Then they do like grilled tomatoes, and then they get fried mushrooms, and then they have your bangers, which are your sausages, and so their breakfast is not it's breakfast. It's like a huge, or it's a big thing, and it's like people start their day quite heartily.
Well, that's good when you're walking. You're walking it off.
Because when it gets cold, you need that.
I just want to say, I want to see if I get this right. So where this Brown's Boutique B&B, this was all built in 1752, and so this is for anybody who's a literary junkie, this is going to be a place to go. But I want to make sure. Now, am I saying the town name Larne?
Yes,
right.
Larne.
That's not how it's spelled.
It looks like laugh. It looks like a laugh, But that's the thing with the Welsh language. It's like, don't even try to phonetically, try to sound it out the way you think, English pronunciation is, because the Welsh is like so different. They do two L's and they do two, and it's like nothing. You can try and say something. I remember trying to say something to somebody about where we'd been, and they looked at me with this very puzzled expression. And I kept trying to say it. And finally, I wrote it, or I showed the word, and they're like, "Oh, you mean, learn," or whatever it was. And I said, "Yeah." And so you really have to, if you want to really learn how to pronounce it, you have to make a real effort to understand what they do with their letters and how those sounds come about. But all the signs are in English as well as in Welsh, because that language is their, the language that of tradition there.
I think they have words with 26 letters in them.
Yes.
Yes.
They really do.
You never know. You never know. But okay, but you also went to a guest house, which we haven't heard of. Guest house? We do have them here, in Amroth, and so apparently then you had at this it's like a home, right? So it's like a B&B, but you had sea views. Now that's pleasant.
Yeah, it was beautiful. It was up a hill, and it's called the Melly Ha, run by this lovely couple, the Adams, and they, have made us really beautifully cozy kind of place. And you've got kind of a country and a seaside kind of locale, and then she's made this, Julia, the woman, has made this glorious garden in Stewart as well, and she also makes these homemade Welsh cakes, which I found quite delicious. And she will, sit you down with, you could have tea and chat with them, and it just is one of those nice, really hospitable. You really feel like you're welcome there.
Nice, I love that.
That's important.
Yeah. So you're getting all the homemade treats and
goodies.
And these gardens. That's the thing. Your images, like the foxgloves, and I mean the gardens out there looked beautiful. They
were really beautiful. And she has one she has a teapot garden, and it's a picture of all these teapots that she kind of rearranged in her garden, and I think it's quite whimsical. It's very cute.
I like that. That's really nice.
I like that too. But then you
Yeah.
go to the mansion house. Ooh.
Oh my gosh, yes. And that is in, as you pronounce, the two L's are pronounced the kind of a clus. So it's Clonstefan is how it's pronounced, Clonstefan. And so that's the mansion house, which really was it is a very elegant property. It's on the top of a hill with these views of the bay, and it's really kind of has period decor. It's Georgian style architecture. The restaurant is really, really superb. It's well known. They have an amazing chef there, and lots of incredible swoon-worthy entrees and desserts, and it's just everything is wonderful.
I know how
yes.
you find things that you love when you're traveling,
yes.
and sounds like treacle tart and these Welsh cakes are on the top of the list.
Yeah, absolutely. That and fresh fish that I had, which I thought was really wonderful. But yeah, very special. I'd say very special place to stay. But then we went from there to Carmarthen, which is another stop along the way, and we stayed at the Ivy Bush Royal Hotel, which is a really historical property, real old world, Lord Nelson, Lady Hamilton kind of thing. And so, you also once again have this, sense of place and history. And, it's an interesting town with a real ancient history with Romans and in the first century. And you also are by the Towie, I think it's the Towie River, which I found interesting because these fishermen you see and you're like, what are they in? And they're in these like small, round little boats that they call them coracles, and it's like a one-person kind of boat, really traditional. And they put there's two of them out there, and they put a net between them, and then drift down the river, and they catch fish as they go.
Wow, that's amazing. Like
That's cool.
I love watching, like old ways of doing things. Fishing villages are always fascinating. It's like. And how different boats are according to where you are, and like handmade boats, like wooden boats,
right,
rafts, it's neat. So the Carmarthen, so is this the oldest city in Wales?
Yes, it has that supposedly that distinction of being the oldest, and it's definitely has that claim. You see it as you walk the streets, and there was this old town hall, and it's a very very picturesque place. And I love the fact that when you stop in these towns, they each are very unique and distinct. Some of them are a little bigger than others, and some of them are a little older than others, but they all have a real distinct character and a vibe to them.
Now, Kidwelly.
Yes.
Put your wellies on.
Yes, get your wellies
on. This town. This sounds interesting. Sounds like you had a relaxing time, and you went to the Tenants to the Mason's Arms.
Yes, we went with the B&B owners, the tenants, and who were a delightful couple, and they took us to the nearby a nearby pub restaurant, and we really got the local color and characters there, which was really fun. And
cool.
So it was really neat to kind of be with people from the village and then meet other people from the village, and that was kind of just kind of really special evening. And then they have this really incredible castle in Kidwelly that is one of the most, I think, well preserved of its kind in Wales. It's really this gorgeous, mighty fortress, very daunting, kind of eerie with these, the dark, dank rooms and these gloomy dungeons. But then you climb all these staircases to the top, and you have this incredible view of this very bucolic landscape.
Oh man,
nice.
I want to go. I know, this sounds so amazing. So so you stayed at the Tenants, you stayed with them that they're in, and then you go to this castle. I mean, I'm just listening to all these experiences you had while walking a trail. I mean, this is incredible. Like the inns and the food and the pubs are all part of this experience. And again, that's what we always think, you got to sweat it out, man. You got to suffer on these trails. You must suffer.
Oh, no.
This is absolutely amazing. But I want to go back to this castle because there's the story of the Lord eating the upper crust.
They have these wonderful plaques, these great informative kind of plaques are placed throughout the castle, and they have great descriptions, details, whatever, about what life would have been like back in the Middle Ages in this castle. And there was this one that was talking about, you were in the area where they were baking bread in these ovens, and they said that the baking process, it wasn't even, and so the bread would get burnt on the bottom, get charred, and they said so the Lord would eat the upper crust, and then they said hence the saying. And so I never knew where that came from.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Wow, that is interesting to me. Now, another interesting thing is Amelia Earhart has some history here.
Absolutely, in Berry Port.
Berry Port. That's
right.
Not Bury. Bury. I wanted to say Bury Port, but okay.
I think it's Bury or Berry. I'm not quite sure, but you say it either way and they'll understand.
Yeah. But she goes everywhere. I mean, I want to do like an Amelia Earhart map or something, like a trail of everywhere she's landed. I mean, this is incredible. So she landed there.
Yes, she did. She became, she was the first woman to fly across the Atlantic, and she landed in Bury Port after 22 hours of flying from Newfoundland, which is where she started. And so the town has this plaque. It has a monument, commemorating the event. And so, that's something that was a real surprise to me. I didn't know it. And we're walking around and we come across it and we're like, what? And it's just, I think there's actually two. There's a monument itself in town, then there's this plaque, and there's this signpost that shows how many miles it is from there to Newfoundland. And, it's very, very interesting. But I guess she landed in the water there in the Bay Area, and she actually didn't know exactly where she had landed.
Where am I? Hey, splash. Wow. So you stayed at Chrissy Whitford's.
Yes, and it's kind of a combination. It has like a B&B, but there's a cafe and there's kind of a shop selling kitchenware on the bottom floor, and then they've got these really nice and suite types of accommodations up above, loft style, right above the cafe and the shop. So it's once again a real nice, I think, bit of local color, and you can hop downstairs and have a bite in the cafe, and then stroll a little around the small village. And we chatted with a number of shopkeepers and really had a delightful time there. And that's the last place on the walk. And we took the train from there, and we went back to Cardiff, and then back to London. So everything is really accessible by train there. It's wonderful. You can hop on and off trains. And, it's just a wonderful way. You don't need any type of car. You don't need, vehicles or anything like that. I really like that.
You can sip and walk or ride the rails.
Yeah, cool.
Yep.
I love that. And train rides are so cool. And the British Isles, the train rides are amazing. And I remember we were in Wales, years and years ago, and I was a little kid, but I just remember like how green it was. It was just so intoxicating green. And I know that being out in the desert southwest, when you start to see the green, you just get mesmerized. You just want to start hugging trees and rolling in the grass.
And
I can't help
flowers.
it. Yeah.
And swans. We saw tons of swans.
Yeah.
Yeah. It just, I think, when I see green, it's like my mouth starts to water, it's just, it's one of those reactions. And it's just, it's so splendid there, just like in, Ireland. It's really, that lovely emerald, that beautiful green, and it's rolling hills. And I don't know, the scenery to me is just such a stunning, different, vast type of landscape that differs depending on which region of the country you're in. And for a country of that size, it has all these, 7 or 8 different geographical regions that this walk goes through. So you're never tired of the same, you're never like, oh my God, I'm so tired of fields, or I'm so tired of whatever it is that you're walking through woods, you get the diversity. So, one day you're going to spend walking through fields, and one day you're just going to be on beaches and just, be, watching, wildlife all over. And it's just, when we were on the beaches, we saw people with kites, and, we saw a couple that were, painting, and, it's just, I don't know. It just, to me, is the best way to travel. Sometimes it's just on your feet.
I agree.
I like
and
that.
this is like quality of life. Like I said, it's very healthy, but then I love that you're having a different experience every night, and you're not having to lug things, get back to the car, drive 10 hours back to wherever you're staying.
Find a parking place.
that is the one thing about, us traveling. We, because of all the computer gear and camera gear.
Yeah.
There's this thing where, you could go here, everybody go here. Well, you can't leave it in the car. Number one, just out of, you don't. And then the heat. And then it's like there's this thing about your luggage in the car. And I love it if someone else takes the luggage for you. You're not, I'm all over that. I'm all over that, especially if you're walking all day. I would go berserk on this trail in giddy happiness,
Yeah.
Especially would you say this is a good place for bird watchers?
It is, definitely. I think you can see a lot of birds and migratory birds, and then you can see just a lot of. I mean, you can see a lot of pastoral wildlife that's all over the place, and you can also there's sea life and seabirds, and the nature for nature lovers. I think it's a really really lovely place to be.
Oh,
and
man.
it's good to see nature when you're on foot.
I know. It's such a cool thing.
You can see everything.
Yeah. Did you see any pigs? I want to ask you, because we had a pig experience.
We didn't see any pigs. We saw a lot of sheep, as I said, a lot of cows. We saw a bull, and we saw, and we saw, lots of, little things, and then, a lot of birds and some sea stuff. But, I think for a lot of people, when you're walking, you notice things that you would never notice if you're like in a coach or, like in a car or whatever, and things are kind of whizzing by and you're just, catching little glimpses. When you're walking, you can actually stop and say, my God, look at the way that branch is so twisted and gnarled, or look at that tree stump, or look at, we were walking on one little part of a trail. It was kind of like an axis off of it. But this person somebody had carved out of tree stumps, they'd carved like a, eagle, and they've carved, you come across things and you're just like, I'd never see this if I was driving. Never.
Exactly. Well, and it's good for your mind. And they also have proven, a lot of great writers have, proved this too, about walking. It spurs creativity. It's mindfulness. If you can't meditate, take a walk.
Exactly.
That's all you need to do is take a walk, because there's something about that. And walking, it's really good for your body. It's really, really good for your body. And it also is really good for mental health. It's just to clear your mind. I mean, this to me is probably just the best vacation idea for everybody. And I really, really, really want to go. I want to give everyone, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to give the websites to everyone, celtic-trails walking holidays.co.uk, and then Carmarthenshire. Am I saying it right?
Carmarthenshire, yes.
Okay, discover Carmarthenshire.com. So it's CARMARTHEN shire.com. So discover Carmarthenshire.com. This is all up on the articles with Debbie's articles up on nationalparktraveling.com, and also Parks and Travel magazine. And also go to visit Pembrokeshire.com, and that's PEMBROKE. So Pembrokeshire.com, and that way you can see the area a little bit more in depth. But I definitely would call Celtic Trails and help have them help you with your route and your luggage. and
absolutely.
And the champagne on the trail. I don't know if they do that, but I'm putting my request in now. I want my head in there. And of course, everybody, Debbie again is up in the expert department on blendradioandtv.com with links to her articles. And just go onto nationalparktraveling.com and put Debbie in the search, and you'll see her articles that go from Hawaii to Oklahoma to Georgia. So, and I have to ask before you go anywhere else, Fire Monkey, where's the next destination?
Well, I was invited to see Detroit, the resurgence of Detroit, and what they're doing there. And so I'm very interested because it's probably been 40 years since I've been to Detroit. I was there as a young girl, and I don't remember anything. And so I'm kind of eager and curious to see what the city is doing.
Will you
Cool.
go to the train depot for me, please?
I will.
I mean it.
Why?
Well, we haven't finished it. There was a documentary on the history of Detroit and how it's been redeveloping through the years, and it's on PBS, I believe. And
Okay.
it was it a Ken Burns thing? I don't know.
I
It's
can't
really
remember.
good, but it was really talking about how the different stages and how it was one of the most extraordinarily bustling cities in the country, and like huge. It was just talking about the car production and everything that was going on, and that train depot made it all happen. And at
Hmm.
one point, it was the destination of all these Hollywood stars would go there. It was it, man. It was the thing, and that train depot, everybody went there. And
Hmm.
now it's like it's like, and the train depot, they were using it to promote America to around the world. And there was this whole architectural thing of building this opulent train depot to get everyone to notice Detroit as this, amazing city. Look at us. We've got this, it's just this whole story. So that's what I remember from the documentary that I have not finished. But now, you see it that it, eventually closed down for a while or something. So just, I think it had like marble and just, it
Oh,
had
neat.
stained glass windows. And I mean, seriously, so I'm not kidding about it. Please, please, please go.
You've got me very curious about it. So yes, definitely.
Please. All right. Awesome. Thanks for joining us again. And everyone, don't forget the articles in Parks and Travel Magazine, the August-September issue, along with Debbie's article as part one of her cruise from Dublin to Iceland. You'll be able to see that there. And we've got some music for you. Last time you had Highland Way play a song for you, and now you have them again and I even told you at the end of our last radio chat that this is the song, and it's called Wizard's Walk, because I thought that, you were
Perfect.
walking in kind of like a medieval, just cool
Where they got
coastal.
wizards.
Yeah, you got wizard spirits walking with you. So it's off of their album, How About Now, and you can go to Highland Way's website, highlandway.us. Thanks so much for joining us, and safe travels.
Thanks so much, ladies. Take good care.
You too.
You too.